What's up, everyone? Today I want to talk to you about something that you may not know about this table. So one of the most interesting things that I found out when I was reading on this table was that it was designed by Steve Ritchie. And when I saw Steve Ritchie's name, I was surprised because usually I associate Steve Ritchie with Williams tables. I didn't realize that he worked for Atari at one point. He only worked for Atari for a few years, only worked on 2 tables during his time there. And I found out that the main reason why he left Atari to work for Williams was because he felt like he didn't have enough creative freedom. So he felt like not enough freedom was given to him to design the tables the way he wanted. And so as I was reading, I found out that one of the things that he wanted to include in Superman was the concept of background noise, continuous background noise. He felt like this was a feature that would enhance the player's experience as they played. So basically what he wanted to do was implement a noise in the background that would kind of cycle faster the longer the player was playing the table. And so if you've played tables before like Gorgar, it's very similar. The same concept is the same, where as you're playing longer, you're scoring more points, it feels more intense. The background music and noises are basically intensifying, and they're faster. So you kind of have that tension built. And so the people at Atari didn't think that was a good idea. And so in 1979, Steve Ritchie left and worked on Flash for Williams. And it turns out that his idea was very successful. So when he left and started to work on Flash, the same year that this table was released, 1979, it was so successful that Williams had to ended up creating about 19,000 machines. So if you know about how manufacturing works with pinball machines, is during the first and early stages of the production run, they'll only produce a small batch because they want to see, are people playing this machine, is there a demand? It's basically supply and demand. And so people were playing the Flash machine a lot, and arcades wanted more machines, so they ended up producing a little over 19,000. And so one of the things that made Flash popular was that continuous background noise that the player experiences as they play. And so you kind of think about, well, what if Steve Ritchie had stayed with Atari? Would Atari still have been in business longer than it did? And would the tables that Steve Ritchie created at Williams, would they have ever been created? Would they ever be, right? So think about that as you play this table, and I think it's one of the most important things that players may not be familiar with about Superman, because as you know, Atari was not very popular in the pinball industry. They ended up working on 15 tables, but a lot of them were only prototypes. So prototype tables never go into mass production and are not really even counted. So probably less than 15 altogether. And so it makes you think, what if Steve Ritchie had stayed with Atari? But one thing I want to say in defense of Atari was that you have to remember at this time, with Steve Ritchie's idea of this continuous background noise, is that pinball tables were now going into very early solid states, right? And so mostly before these early solid states, people were used to EMs, electromechanical tables, and these EMs did not have anything like that. So I think from an Atari management point of view, was that they probably thought that was a little over the top, and it could, it could be because players, playing EMs, they weren't sure how they were going to take it, right? So you can't really fault Atari for it, but it just goes to show you that something as a small thing like that can make a huge difference. And we're just talking about background noise here. On the same topic, I mean, if Steve Ritchie never worked for Atari, maybe he would have never gotten the job at Williams. Who knows? But at least Atari gave him a starting point. So, hope you enjoyed that fact and enjoy the rest of the gameplay.